Hello, and welcome to Carmela's Sanctuary of Squirrels. Here at the sanctuary, we always have several squirrels that need to stay with us during the cold months of winter. In northeast Ohio, we can get temperatures as low as -10 Fahrenheit, so we like to make sure our squirrels stay nice and warm. In this episode, I'm going to show you a very simple, easy-to-build heated nest box to be used in an outdoor enclosure. To make a heated nest box, you will need materials and tools as shown on the screen. I'm not going to go through the list because you can simply pause the video or check the description box below to give yourself time to write them down. Now that we have everything we need, we will start with the 1x12 board. First, you will need to make a series of marks on the board. Moving the tape measure across the board as I'm doing here, make 3 marks at the 15-inch, 30-inch, and 45 inches from one end. Using those marks as a guide, use a square or a yardstick to make straight lines across the board for all 3 lengths. Then cut the board on the miter saw on those lines. If your miter saw doesn't have a large enough blade, you can do what I did. Simply make a cut along the line as far as the blade will allow, then flip the board over, line the blade up with the cut you just made, and cut the remaining part. Flip the board back over and repeat this for the other 2 lengths. You will end up with 3 15-inch lengths. These will be used for the top, bottom, and back of the nest box. Using the remainder of the 1x12, mark the board at 9 3/4 inches. Then make a guideline and cut the board at that length. This will be used for the end that the heating pad's cord will come out of, and will also be the access door for the nest box. Now make another set of marks and a guideline at 12.5 inches. Then cut the board across. Now rotate that length 90 degrees or 1/4 turn. Make a set of marks and guideline at 9 3/4 inches, then cut across that line. This will create a board that is 9 3/4 inches wide and 12.5 inches long, which will be used as the opposite end of the nest box. Note that the remainder of the original board is not used. Now we will measure, mark, and cut the 1x3 furring strip at 15 inches, 30, 45, 51, and 57. These lengths will form the front of the nest box. Note that I already had 3 15-inch lengths cut, so you've only seen me making the 2 6-inch length cuts here. Finally, measure, mark, and cut the 1x2 furring strip at 15, 21, 27, 37, 47, 52, and 57 inches. These lengths will also be used to form the front panel. Now to assemble the front panel, first place one of the 15-inch lengths of 1x12 on your workbench. This will be used for lining up the components of the panel. First place a 15-inch 1x3 strip along one edge of the backboard. Then line up 2 6-inch lengths of the 1x2 so that each one is flush with the first strip and the 2 ends of the backboard. Place 2 6-inch lengths of the 1x3 in the same fashion, flush against the 1x2s. Then place a 15-inch 1x3, then the 15-inch 1x2, and finally the last 15-inch 1x3. This is the configuration which makes the front panel and has the entry hole for the squirrels as shown here. To secure the front panel together and fortify the entry hole, place the 2 10-inch 1x2s, support strips, on the panel, lining up the inside edge of each with the entry opening. Using the 1 1/4 inch screws, screw the support strips onto the front panel as shown here. This has now formed the front panel with the entry hole for the squirrels. The support strips will be on the inside of the nest box. Once the front panel has been assembled, it is time to add the 2 ends. Rotate the baseboard by 90 degrees or 1/4 turn. Next, place the 2 boards that are 9 3/4 inch wide on edge at the 2 ends of the backboard. Align the far edge with the edge of the backboard. Note that the ends are 2 different lengths, to leave an opening for the heating pad's cord. Because of this, one will overhang the front edge of the backboard. Carefully place the front panel on top of the 2 ends, being sure to line the edge of the front panel with the outside edge of the side panel at each end. Using the cabinet screws, secure the front panel to the longer end panel. Then align the shorter end panel with the front panel, leaving a gap at the edge closest to you. Secure it with just 2 cabinet screws, which will be removed later, so don't screw them down tight. Set this portion of the nest box aside. Now we will affix the heating pad to the bottom of the nest box. Remove the heating pad from the box and place it on the center of the bottom board. Make sure the cord will be at the end with the shorter end panel. Use the 4 self-drilling screws through the holes at the corners of the heating pad to secure it to the bottom board, and then set the panel aside. Place the section with the front panel upside down on the workbench so that the end with the shorter board has the gap at the top. Place the bottom panel on the edges of the front panel and the long end panel. Using cabinet screws, secure the bottom panel to those 2 sides. Turn the nest box over so it is resting on the bottom panel and the front panel is across from you. Slide the plastic tray into the nest box with the far edge under the slats on the front panel. Now use 2 5-inch 1x2 blocks to anchor the plastic tray. Start the screws into each end of each block. Place 1 block on the long end panel so that its bottom edge is keeping the plastic tray pressed down. Secure it with the started screws. Repeat at the opposite end, making an outline of the block where it needs to be. Then remove the tray, turn the nest box on its end, and screw the block into the short end panel where you marked for it. Turn the nest box upright and place the plastic tray into the slot you just made. It is very important not to skip placement of the plastic tray. This tray will become a barrier between the squirrel and the heating pad to deter the squirrels from chewing on the heating pad and getting electrocuted. Regular inspection of the tray should be made to ensure it hasn't been chewed to the point where the squirrels can get to the heating pad. Now turn the nest box so the front panel is on the workbench. Place 1 of the 15-inch 1x12s on the edges of the side panels such that the bottom edge is against the bottom panel as shown. Secure the panel to the longer side panel using cabinet screws. Then place 2 screws into the shorter end panel. They will be removed later. Upend the nest box so that the shorter panel is facing upwards. Open the package of hinges and carefully place them along the back edge of the shorter side panel. The center barrel of the hinge should be centered on the line between the 2 boards. Use a pencil to mark the hole placement of the hinges. Be careful that the hinge doesn't shift while making the mark. Use a small nail and hammer to make a pilot hole at the center of each mark you made. It doesn't have to be very deep, just enough to keep the screw from sliding off center. Put the hinges back into place and use a screwdriver to loosely start each screw into the holes on the hinges. Use the drill to finish inserting the screws into the hinges, making sure the hinges stay in alignment. Rotate the nest box so that the front panel is now facing you. Using the 1-inch hooks and eyes, determine the placement of the latch. Use a hammer and nail to make a pilot hole for the hook. Attach the hook to the end of the front panel. Measuring carefully, make a pilot hole for the eye of the latch, attaching it to the side panel so that the hook can be used to latch the access door you are making. Sorry for the background noise. We had a sudden thunderstorm come through. Now remove the screws that were holding the end panel in place, enabling the panel to be an access door for easy cleaning and maintenance of the nest box. Place the last 15-inch 1x12 board on top of the nest box, lining it up with the ends and the front. You will only be securing it on the front and at the opposite end of the door. Use the cabinet screws to secure the top of the nest box. Voila! Your nest box is complete and is ready to be placed in your outdoor squirrel enclosure. The gap along the top of the back panel allows for ventilation. It also gives the squirrel a ledge they can peek through to monitor the area. Thank you for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And remember, be squirrely and go a little nuts today.